Good evening, all. Please do wait. We are waiting for the chief guest and kindly share the YouTube link that is being shared in the chat box right now with your friends. So we'll begin as soon as the chief guest arrives. Thank you so much for your patience.
ആ ഇല്ലില്ല.
As possible. So within 2 minutes, we'll begin. Please share the YouTube link among your friends. Please do that. Thank you. Good evening, one and all. Our chief guest has joined with us. I hope it is audible. Hello, I hope it is audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's start our webinar. Good evening, one and all. The Christa Jyoti College of Management and Technology has gone through an irresistible period of attainments in various areas of academic ventures in spite of this pandemic. As a part of academic extension programs, we have gathered here for the 5 days national webinar series on research methods and techniques conducted by the Postgraduate Department of Commerce and Management of Christa Jyoti College of Management and Technology in association with Indian Accounting Association, Alapura. Let us all witness the session fair and square. When we mark the inaugural section in the digital space for the ceremony, we revel in the honorable presence of the most respected Dr. Gabriel Simon Patel, Dean and Professor of Kerala University, our Principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chiranguri CMI, Dr. Verghese Anthony, Vice Principal, as well as the HRD of Commerce, Professor Thomas Matthew, Head of the Department Management, Dr. Matthew Emmanuel, former HOD of Commerce, Mr. Thomas Kutiemo, Course Coordinator, Dr. Anu Anthony, IQC Coordinator of the College, and Dr. Vinny Chandra, KS Secretary, Indian Accounting Association, Alapura, along with other coordinators and faculties of the college. Prayer is our powerful contact with the greatest force in the universe. So it is a mark of an undying tradition to evoke the God Almighty at the beginning of an important event. So let us all begin with a prayer song. So I kindly request everybody to be in a prayerful posture to invoke the blessings of God Almighty.
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा।
Thank you. To officially welcome all gathered here, I would like to invite Dr. Verghese Anthony, Vice Principal and Head of the Department of Commerce of Christa Jyoti College. We have such an enduring personality who had battled against all the odds and reached the peak of success. Dear sir, with profuse delight, I request you to welcome this online gathering.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes,
Am
sir.
I
Yes,
audible?
you are. Yes, sir.
Most respected Reverend Father Joshi Chiranguri CMI, Principal of Christa Jyoti College of Management and Technology, Dr. Gabriel Simon Patel, resource person of today's program, who is also the Professor and Head of the Department of Commerce of University of Kerala, Dr. Vinny Chandra KS, Secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Alapura branch, Dr. Matthew Emmanuel, Dr. Anu Anthony, my dear colleagues, participants from Kerala and outside Kerala from various institutions, my dear students, good evening to one and all. The Postgraduate Department of Commerce and Management of Christa Jyoti College of Management and Technology, in association with Indian Accounting Association, Alapura branch, is organizing a 5 days national webinar series on the topic research methods and techniques. Today, we are going to discuss on the topic identification of research problem. Identification of research problem refers to the sense of awareness of a prevalent social problem, a social phenomenon, or a concept that is worth studying, as it requires to be investigated to understand it. The researcher identifies such a research problem through his observations, knowledge, wisdom, and skills. The identification of a problem to study can be challenging, not because there is a lack of issues that could be investigated, but due to the challenge of formulating an academically relevant and researchable problem, which is unique and does not simply duplicate the work of others. To facilitate how you might select a problem from which to build a research study, consideration of various factors is necessary. This webinar will definitely help us to identify the research problem. My duty is to welcome all the dignitaries to this webinar. This webinar will be inaugurated by the Principal of Christiodi College of Management and Technology, Reverend Father Joshi Chirangoli, CMI. A very good administrator, academician, teacher, and a very good priest. He is heading the Christiodi College of Management and Technology for the last 12 years. Due to his continuous hard work and sincere dedication to the society, now the Christiodi College of Management and Technology is one among the top ranking institutions in the state of Kerala. That is why the students from all over Kerala are seeking admissions in Christiodi College of Management and Technology. He provides full support and all the help that is being required for conducting various programs for the benefit of the students community as well as for the faculty members. For and on behalf of all those who are present here, I cordially welcome Reverend Father Joshi Chirangoli, CMI, Principal of Christiodi College of Management and Technology, to this webinar. Welcome, Father.
Thank you, sir.
The resource person of today's webinar is Dr. Gabriel Simon Thattil, Professor and Head of the Department of Commerce and School of Business and Management and Legal Studies, University of Kerala. He is also the Dean, Faculty of Commerce, as well as Director of IQAC of University of Kerala. He is an author of 3 books with numerous publications to his credit. He has acted as the chair as well as invited speaker in various national and international seminars across the country. Dr. Gabriel has produced 29 PhDs and over 50 MPhil dissertations. Currently, he is the chief editor of Indian Journal of Accounting, the formal journal of Indian Accounting Association, which has 53 branches across the country. For and on behalf of the participants, I cordially welcome Dr. Gabriel Simon Thattil to this webinar series. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Anthony Joseph K., President of Indian Accounting Association, Alappuzha branch. Dr. Vineet Chandra KS, Secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Alappuzha branch, are also participating in this webinar series. We are conducting this webinar series in association with the Indian Accounting Association, Alappuzha branch. I cordially welcome Dr. Anthony Joseph K. as well as Dr. Vineet Chandra KS to this webinar series. I also welcome Dr. Matthew Emmanuel, former head of the Department of Commerce of Christiodi College of Management and Technology, Dr. Anu Anthony, IQAC coordinator of Christiodi College of Management and Technology, as well as the coordinator of this webinar series, faculty members of Christiodi College, as well as from various other institutions, my dear students, and all the participants. Once again, I welcome all of you to this webinar series. Please enjoy the webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of welcome. Reverend Father Joshi Chirangoli, CMI, Principal, is an epitome of dedication, sincerity, and humility. He is a person who says yes to all the new ventures in the department as well as in the college. It is only because of his constant backing and abutment Prasujyoti College has become the most happening college even in this pandemic situation. A genuine priest who starkly comprehends the intricate nature with the charismatic vibes. I kindly request our dear principal to unmute yourself and deliver the inaugural address. Father, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, Father, yes, you are.
Most respected Dr. Gabriel Simon Tatilsa, Dean and Professor of Kerala University, Vice Principal Dr. Verghese Antony, Dr. Vineet Chandra KS, Secretary, Indian Accounting Association, Alleppey Branch, Research Scholars, participants, and my dear students. I'm greatly privileged and happy to be part of this auspicious gathering of intellectuals, research scholars, and student community. Once again, I would like to extend my heartfelt welcome to all participants to this webinar session organized by PG Department of Commerce and Management of Prasujyoti College in association with Indian Accounting Association, Alleppey Branch. We are already late to the schedule, so I am not going to speak at length. You know the relevance of this topic and significance of research and its methodologies. So I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Dr. Gabriel Simon Tatilsa to make available his busy schedule to interact with the academia. So he is today's resource person. He needs no much introduction because he is well known in the commerce fields and already participated some of the national conferences organized by Prasujyoti College. And I would like to accord my best wishes to all participants from various parts of the nation. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all faculty members of PG Department of Commerce and Management for their concrete efforts to organize such a fruitful webinar session of having high academic relevance. Praying to Almighty God to keep us safe during these days of pandemic COVID-19 and wishing you all success. With the consent of all those who are present here, I declare this webinar session is inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Father. Moving on to the crux of the program. Today, we are extremely privileged to have Dr. Gabriel Simon Tatil, Dean and Professor of Kerala University for the first section of the National Webinar Series. Let's have a glance on the profile of him. Professor Gabriel Simon has been teaching since 1991, joined as a lecturer and turned to be a professor in 2010. He has worked in 4 different colleges and a management institute of repute in Pune before joining the University of Kerala in 1998. His teaching career spans over a period of 28 years on programs like BCom, MCom, MPA, and MPhil. An author of 3 books with numerous publications to his credit, he has acted as chair as well as invited speaker in several national and international seminars across the country. Dr. Gabriel has produced 29 PhDs and over 50 MPhils, acted as a project coordinator for 2 major research projects of the Department of Commerce, and was the coordinator of the SAP UGC project, coordinator for the innovative project of the department, and has executed a major consultancy. Worked for Federal Bank on behalf of the university too. He has acted as the department coordinator for the extension programs as well as linkage programs with specialized institutions like IITM. He was the coordinator for 3 international seminars and several national seminars and workshops, besides acting as the organizing secretary for All India Accounting Conference. Currently, he is the chief editor of the Indian Journal of Accounting, the former Journal of Indian Accounting Association, which has 53 branches across the country, and is the director of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of University of Kerala. A great mentor who nurtured young minds and scholars all over the world. On behalf of the KCMT family and the Postgraduate Department of Commerce and Management, once again, I welcome you and also request you to engage the section on the topic identification on research programs. We all are ears for your words of wisdom, sir. So please. Hello, sir. Due to network issues, he'll join soon. Kindly please wait. Others, please share the YouTube link to your friends too. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, sir.
Shall I address or you're waiting for somebody?
No, sir. It's you can address the gathering.
Okay. So I'm not using the video because we're having some network issues.
Okay, sir.
Most Reverend Father Joshi, who is the principal of this college, Dr. Verghese Antony, the vice principal, Dr. Anu, Dr. Vinit Chandran, the secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Alappuzha branch, Dr. Anthony Joseph, the president of the Accounting Association, Alappuzha branch, all distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. First of all, I congratulate Christa Jyoti College and Indian Accounting Association, of which I am also a part, for having taken up this initiative to host this event on research, which is continuously being hosted across the country on different themes from different angles. So congratulations to Christa Jyoti College. And also I congratulate and compliment all the participants from across the country who have joined for this particular program. The ball has been rolled out in terms of the inauguration. And now we are trying to look at the first part of research, that is identification of a research problem. Now, I'll just draw your attention to what was happening in terms of research 30 years back, 50 years back, or 100 years back, or even before that. Understand that at one point of time, India was a hub for higher learning. Today, we don't find a place among the first 100, 200, 300 institutions. We are just struggling. But there was a time when India was a hub for higher learning, and India was one among the developed countries of the world. Now, from that state, slowly we have had some problems. And today we are talking about intellectual property, of which research is one element. Now, leave alone centuries back, even if you take 50 years back, what were the interventions in terms of quality research? It was very minimal. We never had anything like coursework. We never had anything like plagiarism check. We had never had anything like publication requirements. And we had research. We had research which was looking into some output which had its own quality and its own limitations. Then we started off with this allegation and problems in terms of quality. And every now and then, whether it is from UGC, whether it is from DST, whether it is from ICSSR, all these agencies consistently, they keep talking about decline in quality and interventions. So a lot of interventions came. We started looking at interventions of all kind. Interventions in terms of coursework being mandatory or plagiarism check being mandatory, publication requirements, annual assessment, doctoral committees. So many things have been done down the line, which I think all of you will be knowing, those who have joined for the couple of years. And after all this, we still keep complaining that quality is coming down. So what has actually happened? That is what I'm trying to draw your attention to. It is not that we are lacking in terms of technology. We never, even maybe 40 years back, we never even had the internet. We never had anything to we never had developed formatted search engines as we have today. So technology wise, we have grown a lot. Facility wise, ecosystem wise, we have grown a lot. But still, where do we actually lack? And why is this problem of quality research still standing out to be so prominent? Now, the basic issue which I see is our looking at the process of research only in terms of degree or attainment of certain personal agendas which we have for us. That means I need to get a promotion, I need to get a job, or I need to get a placement, so on and so forth. So what happened? We started looking at all these things as means. Not that we should not look at it, we should look at it, but the knowledge creation part of it went to the backseat. So it became a ritual. You said coursework, so coursework became a ritual. You said annual assessment, we came to do it. We came to do publication, we came to do all these things in terms of just means to reach this particular ritual. Now, today we are discussing identification of a problem. Let me tell you that a good research, if you are trying to look at knowledge creation, must have within itself, engraved in itself, a research problem. Now, this research problem is not something which we create. Research problem is not something which you just write in a synopsis. Research problem is a problem which somebody somewhere faces. It is a reality. If you look at all great innovation, all great inventions, all great discoveries, it has come from a basic necessity which had existed somewhere. Let it be the aeroplane, let it be the penicillin, let it be the steam engine, all these things. Certain need which existed somewhere called for solid concrete research. Even if you look at the genuine research which is now going on in terms of the coronavirus on the COVID pandemic, it all started from the gravity and intensity of what we are currently facing. And then it grew into different dimensions. When there was good health science research on the virus, there was economic research on the economic impact of the lockdown. There was research in psychology on mental well-being. There was research in terms of education, in how it happened, what is its impact on education. So multi-dimensional impact was something which came out to be in existence. So what I'm trying to bring across here is research actually got initiated from human necessity and human need. Then that was there. The subsequent part of how are you going to find that out? Definitely that is important. That became very relevant. So all basic research, all good research need to have in it an action or an application element where we are trying to address something. Even when it is in literature or language or poetry or plays, it all addresses something which is perhaps, it need not always be in terms of a concrete product or a service. It can even be in terms of culture. It can be in terms of society. It can be in terms of policy. So there is something which is felt necessary and that which we address in order to fill that gap. It is here that we need to understand a research problem. A research problem. And how do you identify this? That is the theme that we're looking at. We don't identify it to write something in a synopsis and submit it for getting clearance in the first doctoral committee for research. We identify it by keeping your ears and eyes open into what happens outside. The biggest quality of a researcher is keeping your ears and eyes open into what happens in the environment around us. If I'm in commerce, I'm looking at what is happening in industry, what is happening with micros on organizations, what is happening with profitability, what is happening with capital market, what is happening with micro enterprises, what is happening with entrepreneurship, what is happening with finance, taxation, so on and so forth. So in every discipline, the same thing. We keep our ears and eyes open onto what is happening outside. So let us understand that this is the biggest quality of a researcher. Scanning the environment and trying to see what is actually necessary there. This kind of a research is not always associated with academics. Let us understand that. The tribes who live in the forest experience snake bites, and they use their own shrubs and herbs and leaves and root trees and have their own tribal medicine to neutralize venom, although they might not know the theoretical biological combination of what is actually happening over there. So also the fishermen who go into the sea will be doing some sort of research. But as academicians, when we do research, the basic difference between the research that is done just only to meet or solve a problem and the research which need to have a theoretical integration is we also have the theories associated with it. So, in that sense, research is essentially a blending between theories inside and happenings outside. That means, whatever be the academics in which we are, the discipline, the domain in which we are, there are some basic theories associated with that. When I internalize the same, when I introspect over the same, when I ponder over the same, and I look outside, that looking outside, the second part, looking outside is where I try to find out a problem. Once I have found out that there is a problem, I try to link it with something that I have learned. Whether this economic impact of this COVID has got something to do with the theories of finance which we have learned, or something to do with the entrepreneurial issues which we have learned, or something to do with the cultural diaspora that we have learned. So look outside, try to identify something, and then try to blend it or link it with a theory. That is where you identify a research problem. We are not supposed to act as creators of problems. This can be done basically with two models. I'll quickly discuss these two models, and that actually will be the track to the research process. Number one, this scanning of the environment and identifying what is there for you to learn and research upon comes through what we actually call a funneling model, because it has the properties of a funnel. What is a funnel? It is actually used to pour liquid into a container. It has a very broad top. From there, you narrow down, and come to a point. That tip or that point is the research problem. That means I look into a broad area. That broad area maybe it is in finance, maybe it is in marketing, maybe it is in HR, or maybe it is in literature, or maybe it is in applied economics, or maybe it is in polymer chemistry. From this broad area, I try to come down into a specific issue. I come down to a specific problem which comes down there. Say from finance, I try to identify something which is in banking. From banking, I try to identify something which is in non-performing assets. Then I relate to what is happening in the industry in terms of non-performing assets. Then I try to relate this to profitability and the viability of banking. Now I'm coming to a problem. This is model number 1, where from a broad theme, I come into a very specific research problem. Now, when I'm doing this, I need to look into a basic issue of researchability. Researchability means trying to look at what is known and what still remains to be known in that area. If I'm saying non-performing assets, or if whatever be the theme, what is known in that? What has been already said in that? What has been established in that? What has been theoretized in that? And from there, what is that which I intend to make known now? If you look at all great, as I said, all great innovations and innovations have come in that form. They will say that this is what is existing, this is what is known, and this is what I would like to make known. In fact, that is how even a hypothesis comes. It comes from the problem. The word hypothesis is a combination of 2 words, hypo, less than, and thesis, which is something which is empirically tested and established. So, what is happening here? Researchability means I'm clearly establishing what is known, and I'm saying this remains to be known, and there is a research gap. If there is nothing to be researched, if there is nothing which is unknown, which you're making known, the issue of plagiarism will come. You will state something which somebody else will say, which is already known, which has already been stated. Somebody else has already established this. So there's nothing new in it. There is nothing which is unsaid, which you are now saying. And that still remains as a problem which you're not going to establish. And you, for the sake of it, you will say, this was done in that area, I did it in this area. This was done with that plant, I'm using a different plant. This was done with that tourism product, I'm using the different. So you're just struggling to establish a gap where there is no gap. Those are the specific issues which we actually need to ponder over. Look at something researchable so that you reach the tip of that funnel and establish for yourself a clear-cut research problem. This is actually what we talk of when we are saying identification of a research problem. A second model is just the opposite of funneling, which we actually call out or talk about as ballooning. Ballooning. It has the properties of a balloon. Something which is initially very small is blown up. Now, just when we talked about the funneling model, what was there on the top in a funneling model is that which is actually a broad area. But what is there in a ballooning thing is a specific experienced problem. When I said COVID pandemic, when I said lockdown, when I said loss of jobs, I'm talking about something which is specifically existing and how actually we go, to explore how this can be further ballooned up. So I look at a specific issue which has been reported, which has been observed, which is well understood, and which can actually have implications in a particular context. Then what am I doing? I am trying to see how this can be further developed, further enlarged, and made into something which is actually having its own implications in a given context. So this is actually what we do actually in a ballooning model. Just a minute. Yeah, so this is this is actually what we are doing when we are talking about ballooning, we are expanding the dimensions or the horizons of something which is important, when we are looking into linkages. And it is here that we actually look into it is here that we actually look into what actually is done in terms of good research. So either through ballooning or through a model of funneling, we need to arrive at what actually is to be researched upon. Now, we give a lot of importance to review of literature, analysis of data, presentation of the report. It's all good, it's necessary. But if you don't have with you a right problem, then whatever be the extent or whatever be the depth which you do your analysis, and then you find out you has not actually addressed a true problem or a real problem. So that is where identification of a research problem is very important. Once you have a research problem, or looking at the supportive processes, looking at the add-ons to that is well used and well integrated so that you arrive at the processes which towards the end will be creative. Because it is an application, it is a solution, it is something new which is being experienced and which is being taken into account when you're looking at a particular context. So here, it is in fact a culture. It is in fact something which gives joy, because I know I'm working on something which is existing. I'm working on something which is actually live. I'm not working on something which is in a format of being in a what you call a dead format. So on the other hand, if I'm just doing it for the sake of it, it is just for me, okay, this has opened, 1 year has gone, 1 DC has gone, 1 publication has come. Not that I'm not saying that you need not have publication. You need work for your publication, you need work for your promotion, all it's good. But I'm not just being satisfied by saying that, okay, step 1 is over, step 2 is over, step 3 is over, and now I have submitted and my degree is over. I got a degree. So I'm looking beyond that into something that is actually going to be beneficial in terms of its validity. And validity gets established when there is a beneficiary. So simply speaking, or to put it in very simple terms, research is essentially addressing just 2 questions. Number 1, what is that you wanted to find out? Although we talk about research in a very glorified, very big way, it is true. But at the at the tip of it, or at the root of it, there are only 2 questions. Number 1 is that it addresses question number 1, what is that you wanted to find out? And number 2 is, how is that you found it out? What is that you wanted to find out is the problem, identifying the problem. How is that you found it out is your methodology, which you're going to address from tomorrow. But if you do not know what is that you're going to find out, then how is that you're going to find it out is going to be less relevant. So we need to understand what is that actually you're trying to find out. Get it very clear. This is what I'm going to find out. You look at I was referring to innovation. I've mentioned this in several occasions in the past also. When the steam engine was invented, or when the penicillin was invented, you look at the first antibiotic to the antibiotics of this day. Each one had a different strength, and there was a value addition to that. Or when you look at the first flying aeroplane that was created, they looked at what is existing, birds were flying. From that theory, they created one. Then after that, an aeroplane, subsequent models, it changed, and then today you have your supersonic jet or whatever. Same with the ships and all kinds of innovations which were happening. What was there? Know it well, understand it well, understand the theories associated, and then you come to that. This is not just true in scientific products also. It's true even in your concepts on banking, concepts on taxation, issues in social change, issues of entrepreneurial development. It all happens there. What is that you are trying to find out? Having a strong understanding of that will make the problem very, very focused. And this exercise is what actually strengthens your research, because I'm very clear in terms of my purpose. I used to relate research basically to medication. Medication in the sense that suppose you have a headache. There is a problem now, just like a research problem, there is a problem now. Now, when we have a headache, we try to look at that headache from our own perspective. Okay, this could be because of heat, or this could be because of my strain. Let me take some rest, or let me have a tablet. I try to solve it. And when I'm not in a position to solve it, I consult a medical practitioner. Now, this medical practitioner is a practitioner who does research. He is starting from the first step of identifying the problem. He's asking some questions when you go to a medical practitioner. When did this start? What did you eat? Were you exposed to sun? Or some questions. So he's collecting data. Then from the data, he relates it to the theories which he has studied in medical science. Look at the linkage. He has got within him some theories that if the head is aching in this part, if it is after food, it could be because of migraine or whatever. Or if it is in this part, it could be because of tumor. Or if it is happening in this part of the head after this point, with this intensity, it could be because of this. So he has some theories. That is why we cannot understand. But the person who knows those theories, he will understand that these are symptoms of this. And he will ask for some test also. Just like you do your ANOVA and you do your sample test and all that. He is also asking for that. He might ask for your BP, your cholesterol, your EEG. They are asking for some test. But then those tests are done. He is not just telling you the result and asking you to go, or giving you the results and giving the one-page analysis of the result. He tries to find out from that result why he is going back to the problem. He is using the right methodology to find out why that problem is existing. So he knows clearly that the problem is this. Then he does all that. His methodological aspects are directed towards finding out why the head is aching. Then there goes the resolution. So what I'm trying to say here is, a problem well defined is actually half solved. If the problem is well defined, it is half solved. If you have not identified the problem, then the medication, you might give the wrong medicine, you might ask for the wrong test, you might use the wrong tool. Same thing happens in our research. You have identified something which is perhaps non-existing. Then the data that you collect might go wrong. The analytical tools that you use might go wrong. And you are only in pursuit of, okay, let it be right or wrong, I must get a degree at the end. So it's very crucial, either through funneling or through ballooning model, you need to have a well-identified research problem with you. You need to have a well-identified research problem with you. And make yourself aware about the processes that subsequently go into its resolution. So we need not transform the entire world or create a sea change around, but we can look for issues which are there around us, small and big, try to relate them with the theories that are associated, and try to see whether there is a gray area, an issue which needs to be solved in a specific context. That is what we are talking about in terms of identification of a research problem. So it is very specifically knowing what is the basic issue. That's why we are saying statement of the problem. Sitting in many committees or in many vivas, all of us perhaps have experienced this. Statement of the problem is given, maybe in one para, two para, one page and all. But even after that, we don't understand what exactly is the problem. So how important it is to know what exactly the problem is and how precisely the resolution can come is what actually happens in identification of a research problem. This is where we need to actually focus when we are talking about the very core, the very essence of research. Having had this in a very solid form, in a very precise form, the rest of it becomes relatively easy. We are comfortably placed in the journey towards knowledge creation because we are doing something which is valid, we are doing something which is meaningful, we are doing something which can be appreciated in a context. This is what actually happens when we are talking about identification of a research problem. So, as guides, as scholars, as researchers, develop these qualities of scanning the nature, the environment, the issues around us, and try to see whether all these, or some of these, or maybe one of these, even if it can be resolving one tiny, small, micro enterprise issue, or one policy issue, or one societal issue, if it is something which is capable of doing that, then research has got immense scope. Sky becomes the limit for a researcher in that case. This is where we need to integrate ourselves. So I once again thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity. In terms of this particular theme, based on your presentation, if you have something, I can share on that. So any questions or anything which you have, we can take that up. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And now, anything which you would like to share, we can do that now.
Participants can ask the questions right now. It's for the Q&A section. So please. Sir, there is a question in the chat box. Can you please explain the ballooning model with an example again?
Okay, sure. Ballooning model is very simple. In fact, I was indirectly talking about ballooning. See, ballooning, the starting point, you have something which is very small. Funneling, you have something which is very broad, and ultimately it comes to one point, which is the tip and the problem. Ballooning means we know some serious issue which has been, say, demonetization happened. I'm talking from the commerce or management perspective. And we are saying that demonetization has drastically affected maybe the MSME segment in villages. So this is a problem. The problem is not something which actually is something which you have actually caught hold of. It is something which is reported. You are talking about the incidence of dengue fever in a particular hamlet or a particular village. Lots of cases are getting reported there, lots of people. So this is reported. It's an established problem, reported problem, literature-wise stated problem. But nobody knows why it is happening. So based on the theoretical backing that you have, based on the literature which you know, you believe that I will take this up for greater learning. So what will I do? I will try to understand the instances, incidents. I will try to understand implications. I try to understand impact. I will try to understand what is happening because of this. Slowly, I am blowing the balloon. And when the balloon is fully blown up, now I know this is what is happening because of it. Now, in research, we are not always resolving things, but we are giving knowledge, or we are giving inputs on how it can be resolved. So when I have blown up all dimensions of that problem, now I am saying this is happening because of this, and this is how it can be perhaps resolved or minimized. This is what we mean by balloon. So this is one example I talked about already. Many other examples which have come up. There are a number of studies currently which are happening on different dimensions in terms of employability, in terms of use of funds, in terms of how there has been different aspects of industry running out of proper stocks or working capital issues. So issues which are reported, that's why most of the media are talking about issues faced by some sector, faced by some state, or faced by some types of organization. So I take it up and I blow it up. I'm blowing it up with my theories. I'm blowing it up with my understanding of implications. I'm blowing it up with more data. I'm blowing it up with more survey inputs. And from that, I'm saying through my analysis that this is why it happened. This is how it could have been reduced. And this is how I believe it can be solved. This is what we actually mean by the ballooning model.
Sir, we have an interesting question right now. Which are the present
Yeah.
problems of the research and research process which are taking before COVID and after COVID? That is how
Okay.
COVID pandemic will affect research process.
Okay. Earlier, I was talking about problems associated with the COVID, but now your problem is what you have now talked about is how COVID perhaps will create a change in the dynamics. Yes, it is true in terms of looking at new normal. I'll just give one example. We were talking about a very, what we call a global village in all disciplines for that matter, global village. That means everything is going to get liberalized, privatized, globalized. Technology is going to integrate everything. Free movement of goods and services is going to happen and whatnot. That means the world is going to become a village. Anybody can talk to any other person in any other part of the world with almost no cost. You can travel with very low cost. You can get goods in any other part of the world. So everything turning out to be something like a global village. Suddenly, when the COVID happened, what we understood that when everything was getting technologically integrated, even now, like now what we are doing, technologically things are getting integrated, but physical movement of goods and services perhaps can be curtailed. That's what Corona actually started teaching us. Physical movement of goods and services can get restrained. So now research, what happened in research in education? Okay, let us try and look at online learning. Let us try and look at e-commerce. Let us try and look at e-finance. Let us try and look at anytime, anywhere learning. Earlier, we thought it was only in e-commerce and e-business, but today we are talking about anytime, anywhere learning. You might have seen the UGC's document on blended learning. So maybe many of your courses, students can take from outside. They can learn from any institution. They can learn from anybody, any teacher, not essentially in your one institution. So anytime, anywhere services got integrated using technology. And there was a greater emphasis on this. There was a greater anchoring on this. So that also created a research dynamics. Now let us see how we can have that. I don't know whether you know that. Lots of areas are coming up, opening in that level. Say, for example, telemedicine, telemarketing, your practices, professional practices. I know lots of counseling people in Trivandrum are now getting patients even from USA. Earlier they could, because it was like the patients must come and visit the clinic. And in areas like psychology, this has got lots and lots of scope, because many people who are affected with different issues, they would not like to reveal themselves. But if I were to go to a clinical psychologist or to a psychiatrist, or maybe with some issues which without revealing myself, it's not possible in the conventional mode, because everybody will see me going to that place and all that. So even that, these possibilities do exist. So what I'm trying to put across there is that there is lots of things which are turning out in the new model, and there are lots of challenges also. Lots of challenges, because if I'm not able to catch up with the technology, there are teachers who are going to become obsolete. There are physicians who are going to become obsolete. There are small traders who are going to become obsolete. There are even small retailers who are going to become obsolete. But at the same time, if you catch up with that, there are lots of things which are going to be of opportunity. So there is a transition on which we need to research upon the pace and the phases with which you can catch up under the new normal. So that is going to be the research dimension in whatever discipline you are. There is a set of opportunities which through technological integration you can take advantage of. And there are a set of issues which will perhaps make you obsolete and get constrained. So this could be the answer to what you have asked.
Thank you, sir. We have another question. Is it mandatory to develop a theory? If yes, how to develop a theory in ballooning model?
Is it mandatory to develop a theory? See, when you're talking about a theory, there is some, as I said, all that we talk about in terms of theories is a movement from what is existing, what is known, to what you're further making known. See, there was some of the theories perhaps will have to be rewritten. Some of the theories might have to be refined. Some of the theories might have to be seen in a new backdrop. Now, is it always necessary to develop theorize something? Yes, in terms of new knowledge, if I'm talking about new knowledge, there could be something new that you're stating, which was not said earlier. And that will be seen in a particular context to be relevant. That is more true in the case of social sciences, where I'm saying that something gets relevant or something turns out to be more relevant in a particular context. So whether you should develop a new theory, if that theory stands out as true knowledge, yes, it should happen. Something new must come. Something, if you're saying research, something new must come up from what was said. It can be an addition. I'll just give one again, talking in a way about, let us say, somebody who's doing research in HR. You want to do research in HR and you're taking up something like motivation. There's a theory which Maslow said. Now, what McGregor did? What McGregor did, he said X and Y. It was what you call a version of what happened over there. Then you have what you call two-factor theory, Herzberg's two-factor model. Again, it's a modification of that. So he developed something new. He said something new. If you look at outcome-based model of education, we are talking about the Bloom's taxonomy. It's a theory. But then the solo was another theory which somebody said, okay, a different modified way of it can be used in another way. So when something new develops, there is a new way of looking at it and a new way of approaching it. And that is what we call as a new knowledge that comes out. In that way, in every research, there must be something new, something creative, something different from what is existing, what is said so far. Yeah. I think you're not audible. I can't hear you.
Sorry, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
How internet revolution has changed research process? That is before internet.
I think
and
I've
after
already
internet.
mentioned that internet basically has the World Wide Web has given lots of emphasis. Look at a literature review. That will be the best answer to what you asked. Literature review 30 years back, literature review today. Literature review during my times, I think many of you perhaps might not be even knowing that. Only those who are seniors will be knowing that. We used to have rectangular card system. Go to libraries, to pull out the different journals and books, read them, reduce them. At that point of time, even Xeroxing was a bit costly. And you write it in rectangular cards. And every research scholar or researcher used to have a stand which has hundreds of cards which are placed together. That is how erstwhile what you call review of literature was taking place. And then you reduce it and then you write based on all the cards that you have. Today, how is it? You use Google Scholar. You give the main themes, sub-themes. You get thousands of studies coming out. You have e-books, you have e-libraries, and today you have what called digital libraries in which I just give a theme. So what would have taken maybe 6 months or 1 year will happen in a few minutes now. I know where this work has been done across the world and which are the libraries in which the published material are available, where the reviews are available. So this is how internet has created a revolution. This is in terms of search of what is existing. Then again further, your analysis, all your analysis manually done. Now you're using softwares and doing that. All your processes which are going into linking with your interpretational part, it is done using your technology as well as the web-based databases which are there for that. For publication, you are using that. For your developing the support tools, you're doing that. So that way, information search and information gathering has become very easy. But then there's one important challenge which comes there. What is more important today is not information search and generation, because that was a time when that was very important. Your program now is being organized by the Indian Accounting Association. At one point of time, knowing how to journalize, knowing how to post, knowing how to balance. In accounting, all this was important. Generating that information was important. Today, this is all taken care by technology. So what is now important is analyzing, inferring, interpreting, judging. This becomes more important. That is why we have lots of emphasis on artificial intelligence, robotics, data analytics, and all that. So the challenge today is not creating that information, but enabling the appropriate, wise use of that information. The challenge today of a teacher is not just giving information in the book, but the challenge of a teacher today is to empower the student to use that information in a given context. At one point of a time, it was just generating and creating information, but now it is wise application, analysis, judgment, and use of information. That is a skill that is required. So that is basically the technology infusion, or what the state of art technology has actually created.
We have a question from Rahul, that is, we are talking about research, but it requires a lots of funds in terms of money. So due to this reason, some small companies are not able to do research for their products. What is your opinion about this condition and how they can overcome from this?
See, now again, because let me tell you, we are talking about academic industry interface. Academics are spending heavily on research. And the points where research is needed, they are struggling for good research. But the problem is, somewhere down the line, industry is losing faith in academic research, and academic research is not linking itself with good industrial support. So what I'm trying to say here is, funding of research will come in terms of, funding will not be a constraint. There will be no paucity of funds if that funding is going to create research. You look at number of research proposals which are called for by different agencies, including World Bank, IMF, and all that. They still need good research, but they need research which is working on real life issues, which are working on real life problems. And if you're going to work on that, funds will come. If at all we are struggling for funds, it is basically because there is some doubt or some apprehension on what is going to be the quality or what is going to be the new knowledge that it is creating. If you believe that this is going, today you say that we are going to create a vaccine for COVID, or today we are going to talk about a new way of dealing with micro enterprises in a lockdown perspective, you will see funds flowing in. Absolutely no doubt. But if you are not quite sure about what are you actually doing and not what, then funding is going to be a constraint.
So we have the last question. Which comes first, research questions or research objectives?
Definitely, this is the research. First, before this comes the research problem. From the research problem, we go to the objectives. And based on that, you have the questions. So primarily, it is the problem. From the problem should spring out the objectives. But objectives and questions perhaps can have a linkage. This question is asking me to create that objective. It can also be the other way. Because I have this objective, I have this question to ask. So they can have an interlinkage, but normally both has to actually emancipate from the problem. So beginning, you have the problem. Then you have the objectives. And then from that, you have the questions which come out of it.
Thank you, sir. I guess that's it. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question or clarification? Please.
So thank you so much. I hope you will all have a very good research experience in your own institutions, in your own environment, where you will identify what you call researchable issues and work on live problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was a great section. I must say that I hope everyone got a clear-cut idea on identification on research problems. Highly engaging, sir. So now I call upon the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Anu Anthony, a diligent faculty of Christchurch College of Management and Technology, who turns up this webinar series with her true spirit and guidance. Ma'am, I request you to present the certificate of appreciation to the keynote speaker of today's section, Dr. Gabriel Simon Cutting. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Moving on to
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the appreciation, and acknowledgement, and I also hopefully would like to see you all with good research outcomes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Gratitude can transform common days into thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. To officially thank all gathered here, I would like to invite the true academician, the former HOD of Commerce, Dr. Matthew Emmanuel, someone highly passionate about his work, and I must say an individual with profound experience. I kindly request sir to render the words of gratitude.
Good evening, one and all. Dear Chief Guest, Dr. Simon Sir, Principal Father Joshi Tiranguri, CMI, other dignitaries and participants across the country, let me extend the deep gratitude to those who assembled here, particularly the chief guest of the event. It gives great pleasure, honor, and happiness to express the gratitude to one and all in this event. Actually, today's theme echoed in the minds of the participants to a great extent, just like the river like Ganga, as holy as river Ganga, as mighty as the mountain Everest, because turtles are actually touch every aspect of the theme in a straightforward, clear-cut manner. That is his methodology in his discourses and discussions and deliberations in academic life for the last few decades or so. Actually, the problem identification, as the chief guest said, is half done. So the problem of problem identification is the basic philosophy of research. So the basic philosophies of research, starting from ontology, that is the study of reality or a study of nature, the epistemology or the study of knowledge or the theory of knowledge, methodology, the theory of inquiry, and methods, the study of research, construction, and conduction of an investigation. So this problem identification is the heart and root of this basic philosophy of research. I am turning to my duty and job of extending the vote of thanks. First, Dr. Gabriel Simon Tuttle sir needs no introduction to Kerala-lite people, Kerala society. His academic caliber and his research attitude that is fully acclaimed across the country and elsewhere. So his approach actually based on a nation building approach, it is a citizen sector approach. That is why his entire lecture time, he reminded us regarding it is not for the sake of degree, it is not for the research sake, but for the benefit of the nation, benefit of the entire globe, benefit of humankind. So on behalf of the participants and postgraduate department of Commerce, Christiodi College, I extend and express a heartful thanks to Simon sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I express my deep gratitude to our principal, Father Joshi Chiranguri Simai, who is the guiding lamp, leading lamp behind all the endeavors in our college. This is also, he is in this event also, he is present. So he is omnipotent and omnipresent in our entire movement of academic affairs. That is why our college is, our institution is enjoying and witnessing mountain of excellences. For the last number of years, we are producing ranks, university ranks in different subjects. So there are so many institutions, but this institution shows par excellence because of his effort and stewardship as principal and administrator, as also a human being, a good human being. These success stories actually come. So on behalf of the event, I express deep gratitude to Father Joshi Chiranguri. Thank you, Father. Next, I express heartful thanks to our beloved Vice Principal and HOD, Dr. Ravi Sanani sir, and IQAC Direct Coordinator, Dr. Anuhani Miss, for initiating and organizing this seminar. Thank you, sir, and thank you, Miss. I also express deep gratitude to all the faculty members and students of Christi Yodi College, as well as other faculties and students and participants and researchers across the country for joining this endeavor, and it made a big success. Thank you, one and all. With these words, I once more extend heartful thanks to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of welcome. That was the end of the first section, the first day of the 5-day national seminar. Please join for the second day tomorrow, the same time, and share the YouTube link to your friends as well. Thank you once again for all the participants. Simon, sir, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
عدم شركة حال جالس غدا وأنا مدني في أمريكا الظهر